but I guess I get it out of the way and don't have to be nervous. Thank you, and again, happy Black History Month. I was here in October and couldn't wait to get back. Had a couple of interruptions, so I missed the last two, but I'm happy that Blackmore's office has opened my opportunity. Let me pull this one. I may have to hold it. Thank you. Thank you. I've been exploring some Black history, the Black history of my family, and at my age, you start looking back quite frequently, and have gotten into genealogy, which has really been an experience. I'm not advertising Ancestry.com, but I'm telling you, it has opened up many avenues for me in exploring family history that tend to have gotten lost as family members died off and had not shared some of our family's history. So I'm going to begin with this poem called Digging Up My Ancestors. Maggie Butler. 6 of her children are fatherless, without a name. Only one child lives now, and she can't name his name. Eyes are intended to behold the rolling hills and oceans of blue sky, not the glare of microfish hunting for his name. This library is cold as a tomb. I keep returning to the machine with new reels, obsessed. I should go to church this often, hunting for his name. At the machine again, wearing sunglasses to give my eyes a rest, hunting for his name. Rest. I cannot rest until I find him. How can I dig up a dead man if I do not know his name? Page by fragile yellow page, I am hunting for his name, fathered 6 children before he was forgotten. It is here, I tell myself, I'll find it, hunting for his name. Thank God for the persistence of census takers. There it is, Gulliford Butler, head of household, Black, male. Maggie Butler, Black, female, wife. March 18th, 1900. So I know every family has funny stories and stories that kind of intersect and weave across years. And so some of these poems that I'm going to read to you are just that. This next poem I'm going to read, it's a kind of a tribute to my husband and I, and my mother, of all people. I don't know if I should give you the funny part first or just read it and then tell you afterwards. I'll tell you afterwards. How we began. We began because of her trip to see a long-lost cousin. Who would have thought her trip would start it all? A life so full of everything, talking, laughing, food, friends, children, blood, sweat, and tears. Who would have thought how we began would start it all? We began so very different. Age, birthplace, diet. You love red roses, I love orange. You love staying in, I love going out. You love jazz, I love gospel. Who would have thought that we would last? We began because of her trip to see a long-lost cousin. Even through the struggles, in the 420,480 hours that we have shared in this intentional life. Who would have thought? So let me give you the background to that poem. My mother had one first cousin. Maggie, who was her grandmother, had 12 children, but only 3 of them had children to my knowledge. And one of them was my mother's long-lost cousin. He had lived with them when he was a young boy, and then the next poem comes. It's called The Meeting. She left her family, lover, and son for the West Coast and all of the promised pleasures. Rarely did she return home, never saw her son, who when a man left home for the Wild West. West Coast nightclubs offer a gambit of entertainments, meeting places for those who want to forget, get lost in the sights, sounds, smoke, drink. How many times could it have happened? A middle-aged lady shared her table with a young man who was her son's age. Pleasantries exchanged revealed both from the Midwest. Her family is still there. So is his. She had a son she left, his mom the same. What was your father's name? Her breath caught as her eyes beheld the son she left. And he couldn't utter the word mother, as his mind registered the acknowledgement he saw in her eyes. So, let me give you the background to that piece. My mother, don't know how she found this long-lost cousin in California, first cousin. So she takes a trip. And so how we began is about her and that trip. And then here's the funny part. On that train ride, Amtrak train ride to California, she met a man that I married. How we began. I want to read one more story about the first cousin of my mother's. Actually, it's about his mother. And we talked about lives intersecting, and sometimes it's within a community, and sometimes it's across states, sometimes there's a national intersecting. And this is She Called Screaming and Crying. What makes a memory resurface when it was long buried in the crevices of the brain? Standing in front of the mirror, trying to hide inherited dark circles under my eyes, and the laugh sorrow lines traveling down along either side of my mouth. The memory pops in my head for no apparent reason. The call from a woman not really related to Mom's first cousin's mother. She called screaming and crying. She's gone. I've got to get dental records. I'm perplexed. This is the second call about her sister. I don't know. The first call was about her sister selling the house, belongings, leaving with the self-ordained minister. She called, screaming and crying. She's gone. I found out. the sister that I had never known, and her husband had drank the Kool-Aid. Some of you may remember Jim Jones and the trip that so many people took with him. Okay. Somebody's supposed to give me a wave of flag. Somebody give wave a flag, that's okay. It will not hurt my feelings. I write short poems, most of the time, so I thought I could get a few more short ones in this time. The woman that made that fateful train ride and met the man that I married and have been married to for 50 years, passed away. Be 3 years this month. And so the bulk of the poetry I've been writing for the last 3 years is about how I am moving through my grief. So the collection continues, I guess, until it doesn't. And so I want to read a couple of poems that are about her in my process. Everyone, I hope, has a good relationship about their mother, feels that their mother is the greatest person in the world. And that's how I feel about my mother. She was a single parent the majority of my life, married after I became an adult. But we were very close. She was an only child. I did have 2 brothers, but she raised me, I want to say honestly, if that's a description. And by that I mean she raised me to know that she was not a perfect woman. She was not a perfect person. And I deeply, deeply appreciate that because she shared her faults with me, and I think in hopes that I might grow into even a stronger one. But this woman, if I could read all the things about her that I've written, she was phenomenal. Hard things. My mother taught me to do hard things. Not to cry when she was combing my hair. Not to burn myself when I am ironing pillowcases. How to scrub and wax hardwood floors on my hands and knees. My mother taught me to do hard things. How to tie up my Sunday school money in the corner of a white handkerchief. How to give up candy for Lent. How to sit in church quietly when she was not sitting beside me. My mother taught me to do hard things. How to earn money cleaning other people's houses. How to give even when you don't have much. How to say yes when you want to say no. My mother taught me to do hard things. How to laugh when you want to cry. How to sing when your heart is broken. How to live when you want to die. My mother taught me to do hard things. Okay, I think this is my last one. I'm going to sit down. Actually, it isn't. Just wait, I'll sit down. Just wait, don't hurt my feelings. If any of you have had mothers who have passed and you had to take care of emptying the house or her apartment, or in my case, my mother was in a nursing home and then I had things stored. My mother kept things. My mother kept things, newspaper clippings, old programs, Christmas cards, birthday cards, Mother's Day cards, sympathy cards. My mother kept things in drawers, on shelves, in boxes, in tubs, in crates, in notebooks. My mother kept things. Letters, poetry, notes, cards, Xerox copies, originals. My mother kept things. photo albums, envelopes with photos, photos of photos, old and new. My mother kept things that I must go through, looking for her memories, her stories, looking for her. My mother kept things. I promise I'm almost done. You haven't raised the flag, so I'm going to keep going. Rituals for the living. Day after day, in pajamas, I crawl out of the bed to go to the bathroom, breakfast, lunch, bathroom. After each exit, I return to rumpled sheets, bedspreads hanging off the bed. I remember what I had seen day after day, my grandmother and my mother making, oh, sorry, the light's a little different here. Okay, sorry. Rising from their beds, their hands smoothing sheets, pulling the bedspread over pillows plumped, then leveled for the final flipping of the, just a second, crowning jewel over the top of them. Never did I see them day after day in their nightgowns, in their beds, covered in rumpled sheets. When winter storms blew through their lives, they had rituals for the living. Two more. Numbers. I've looked back, counted how many birthdays I've been blessed to spend with her. Days before I knew what birthdays were until now, where I spend them without her. I've looked back at the pictures of flowers and balloons, cakes and gifts, all to celebrate her and her wonderful life, filled with children, grandchildren, and friends who loved her just as much as I. I've looked back, and now I look forward to the birthdays that I won't get to spend with her. 99, 100, 101. But I will celebrate her birthday just the same, because love is not a number. Last one. Thank you for being such a wonderful audience and listeners. I appreciate it. It's kind of hard to see reactions because of the lighting, but I hope that something I shared with you today will resonate with you. I accept all feedback, and I appreciate you listening. Because we are word crafters, because words and speaking mean so much to us. I wrote a poem quite a number of years ago because it was the first time I had ever heard of selective mutism. The second time I had a situation where I was, I shouldn't say exposed, but had to work with a young child who was a selective mute. So this, seeing her and meeting her years later reminded me of this poem, but I'm reading it because words are so important to us, and hearing and reading them are so important to us. When talking becomes too much for words, Mr. Johnson, a teddy bear of a man, never missed a day of work or church, waving to the children as they played their games, which needed few words. They saw the longing in his eyes. And when the demands of adulthood became too much, when talking became too much for words, he stopped talking for days, for months. Mr. Johnson is getting treatment, the children heard. Treatment unloosed his tongue, but he returned with the longing still in his eyes. Thank you.
Give it up for So we are blessed to be small, so there's two reasons I didn't stop you. Because one, there's room. There's room for all. But two, when I hear wisdom, I stop. I can't. I'm not interrupting wisdom. So that's what I was feeling. Thank you. So thank you. And I'm gonna ask Alex to come up here real quick. Alex will try to come up here when you're winning a letter.
You want me to watch?
What do you think?
Push outside. She wants to play out.